Hello, everyone, and welcome to Brown Bag Lunch with me, Laura Collins, the athlete psychotherapist. If you're joining me live, if you're joining us in the recording, thank you so much for taking the time to share your lunch with us today. Please, if you have any questions or comments, don't be shy to put them in the chat. Even long after the live version is over, we love to keep these conversations going. Um, and I'm super excited for my guest today, Neal Palace, my um, friend in arms when it comes to as being a licensed clinical social worker. And also he's a certified mental performance coach, the really wonderful CMPC. And it's just an honor for you to be here today, Neal. Thank you so much for
Thanks.
taking the time to share your
Thanks,
wisdom with us
Laura.
today.
I'm excited to have a little bit of lunch. It's a little early for me. It's 10 o'clock my time in Colorado,
Mhm.
but I still have lunch with me or a
Oh,
snack.
so speaking on that, then
Yeah,
what's for lunch?
I have a blueberry raspberry protein powder smoothie, probably with a little creatine in there. So
Very nice.
yeah,
Excellent.
nice little
Wonderful to nourish
halfway
yourself.
point between now and lunch. So
A little snack. Are
yeah,
you a breakfast person?
I'm a big breakfast person.
You're a big
Like
breakfast person.
I cannot start my day without a breakfast. Like if I know I'm
It's
going
good.
for a run, I will, it has to be, I'm eating. So
Excellent. Good. No, that's
it
good.
has, it,
I'm not a
I have to.
breakfast person. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
for those who can, I'm a coffee
Yeah.
person, but hit like 10:30, then I need to eat like a cow
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
in one fell sitting. I'm just one of those people. But
I
um
get it. I
just
would
to
be doing
mark that I'm
that.
doing the same thing as I had a one of my favorite lunches of all time when I have avocados. I have avocado rice with seaweed, and I made iriko, which is a Korean staple thing that
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
mom taught me how to make. And so I had that for lunch today.
That
So
sounds delicious.
great.
That
Make sure
sounds
everybody
delicious.
is nourishing, hydrating, especially during these heat waves during the summer.
Oh, yeah.
Um, you should be taking care of yourselves.
Yeah, it'll be 96 here. It's been in the hundreds this last couple of
Oh my,
weeks. Yes, the last 2 days we've had temperatures in the 70s and low 80s, which was like
oh
very delightful,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and but we had 103 last week, and that was
Oh my God.
amazing. It was awful. It was
Oh,
awful. So I'm really
yikes.
becoming a morning person with my running and
Yeah,
getting my dogs out for walks and stuff because
that
I
makes
do
sense.
not like it. Now we got smoke coming in. I know you all had smoke a while back,
Yeah.
but we have smoke
Hmm.
coming in from the fires out in Oregon and Washington and here in
Jeez.
Colorado and Wyoming. It's all over.
Oh
So
man, everybody be
yeah,
safe, take care of yourselves. Goodness, be
yeah,
careful with all this climate change stuff.
definitely, definitely.
Um, so
Yeah,
maybe we can segue because we're talking about like the world is even hard on itself, I think. Um, why,
yeah.
Neil, why are we so hard on ourselves?
Why are we so hard on ourselves? Um, I think sometimes we grow up with it.
Mm,
We grow up with it. We have other people in our life, significant others. Um, whether it could be parents or teachers, who are putting that pressure on us, or we do it ourselves because we have this perception. So, here's where I go. Here's where I go with this. Is it ultimately is a survival mechanism for us to fit in. Okay, it's evolutionary. If you believe in evolution, I believe in evolution. It's that we evolved this way, in that in order to fit in, we want to fit in with the group for survival. We go out on a hunt together. We go, collect berries or collect my raspberries and blueberries. We have to do this together as a team, as a group, and to do that, we we have to fit into the group because if we didn't fit into the group, we could be we're out there on our own. Our survival is gone. This
yeah.
maybe 100 years ago, maybe 1,000 years ago, 100 years ago. We were all building houses together. I said, hey, come on over. Let's build my house. Let's, well, I'll help you. We all did that. But it was a survival mechanism. And we start to be hard on ourselves so we fit in.
Yeah.
So our perception of wanting to fit in. Now, it could be that we were told we had this story that we're telling ourselves from maybe our parents or teachers and stuff like that. But then we start doing that all over. And for
Mhm.
me, a lot of people that I work with in ultra running or trail running can be really hard on themselves if they don't finish a race, or if they don't get a certain time, if they don't, complete a workout the way they do, any, think about any athlete, who's struggling is they it comes down to this evolutionary piece that I want to fit in. And so I'm going to
Yeah.
be hard on myself. I'm going to drive. And so I could fit in and achieve those things. Once we start to, I think, recognize that, oh, wait a second, this is my mind doing this, its job to protect me. That kind of lessens the power of it a little bit. Okay. It's like,
Mhm.
okay, because do I really need to get that? For me, for us in the ultra running space, it's achieving a belt buckle or a certain time in a 100-mile race, and ultimately, do I need that to fit in with the world? No, I'm still appreciated and accepted, whether or not I finish a race or not. I just DNF'd a race a couple weeks ago, and it was let it, I didn't really feel any pressure in myself, to beat me. I didn't beat myself up afterward. I'm like, yeah, I knew what I did wrong, and I'll go correct it next time, you know,
Mhm.
and you move on. But
Mhm.
that's my perception of it. I think that's one of the things that, a couple of the pieces of it that come together is, this evolutionary piece, where we're kind of wired to, push ourselves and be hard on ourselves if we don't feel like or perceive that we're fitting in. And then the story that we're getting from other people and from our family, and that gets wired into us. And they're like, okay, if I
Yeah.
don't do this right, I'm going to be hard on myself. It's
Yeah.
not helpful.
No. You
No.
know, that is making me think of, I mean, first of all, our models. How are we learning this? It's not just like the verbal version of expectation and learning, but also just the models. Like I think of my parents, they were immigrants.
Oh, yeah.
They worked all the time. They never took breaks. They never
Yeah.
took breaks. There wasn't like a vacation. The vacation actually, vacation, quote unquote, the trip was to go to Laura's sports events, the competitions or things. That was like the family trip,
Yeah.
so to speak, but it wasn't a break. And this makes me think of just a couple weeks ago, one of my own clients, is in kind of like this job transition, right? And I was asking like, oh, are you going to take a break in between? Because you kind of hope that when you get like a new job that you might. And my client said, well, I was thinking about it, but I'm not sure. And I was like, oh, what, I didn't mean to should, but I was like, I would hope so. I encourage you to. You've worked so hard.
Yeah.
And he,
Yeah.
he actually said, he's like, well, my therapist never takes a break. And I was like, oh, did you just call me out? I said, you just called me out. It was
Oh, that's so
amazing.
good.
It was so good. I was like,
You've got
wow,
a good
thank you so
rapport with
much. Tell me what this
them.
is like for you.
Yeah.
And he was like, you literally had hip surgery and you're doing phone
Yeah.
sessions with us and you didn't take a break.
Yeah.
Oh, oh. I made me think. I said, thank you so much. And we explored all that was coming up for him in seeing that I, as his therapist, was not also taking a break.
Yeah.
So, and I
Good
didn't
role
even see it
models.
as being hard on myself. It was just really
Yeah.
fascinating. So, you
Yeah.
know, thinking about what you just said, which I think is, I absolutely agree. I almost see it as like there's like three different realms. There's like this realm that we grew up in, the habits that we
Hmm.
have, and we maybe know that it doesn't feel good. Maybe that's what brings us to therapy or helps
Yeah.
us to reach out and talk to somebody. Then we know that there's like a side of health. Like if I made a decision in the service of health for
Hmm.
myself,
Hmm.
that would be this direction. It might feel better. And we have this
Yes.
fantasy or imagination of what feeling better could look like, might be, I hope. But
Yeah.
then there's this like nebulous space in between where we have we come up into a situation and we're like we could go to our conditioning, which is like we're going to work harder, we're not going to listen to
Hmm.
ourselves, we're going to
Hmm.
push ourselves or whatever, but we know that route. We know that
Yeah.
we're not going to feel good at that point, so I'm going
Yeah.
to make a decision in service of health. But
Right.
people will say, but then I feel selfish, I feel guilty,
All those
you
thoughts
know
start
it's
flooding up.
all the
Yep.
I'm going to do
Yep.
what I have not been taught to do.
Right.
So you as like working with ultra runners, all athletes and people who have this mindset, we're kind of stuck in this nebulous zone.
Yeah.
What can we do, or what? I guess that's the question. What can we do with this? Like, we come up upon this, but now I'm noticing I'm feeling
Yeah.
guilty if I make a decision in the service of my health.
Yeah. First of all, is noticing it. So what I call that nebulous spot is a choice point. It's where these
Hmm.
situations, thoughts, feelings, sensations all kind of come together, and you're right in the middle of it. And for an athlete that I might be working with, that it might be in the middle of a 100-mile race, it might be, I want to quit. And that's totally not in the service of, or I need to push harder in spite of my heart rate already being through the roof. And that could actually be detrimental to myself. And it's stopping, first of all, starting to develop that self-awareness that these thoughts are coming up, and, noticing them and naming them and normalizing them. I'm having thoughts. Laura has these thoughts. It's like, yeah, this stuff is hard, what we're going through. And I have this choice. I could go this healthy route and get this, my protein drink or whatever it is, or I could go, take this space to, go and take care of myself, and I think about people who are go, go, go. And, it's common in my practice where I'll talk to somebody and, go, go, go. What are you doing for a break? Just like you just mentioned. And, oh, let's talk about how this aligns with our personal values, who we are, how we want to show up in the world, how we want to treat ourselves and others. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. We got to do this. And guess what? That's going to be uncomfortable. And
Mm.
all that stuff is going to come up because we kind of think about it in two sides of the coin, right? You're going to have this really, this reward of like, I'm going to get this break. I'm like I'm already thinking in my mind, I was like, I want to take a break and go to the Tetons, with my daughter. We were just talking about my daughter's turning, 8 to 17. She's going to graduate next year. It's like, I want to, go spend some time. We'll go to the Tetons. Like, I want to take that time with her. And that's a choice. But you have this good stuff on that side, but you also have that other discomfort that comes up, all those emotions, all those thoughts, all those feelings that come up. So you have a choice. What side of the coin? You could access either or, and there's no right or wrong, but which is going to be more helpful for you in the long run? And this is where the beauty of that is like, yeah, okay. I also like it is the mud and the lotus, is the idea of, the lotus only grows in the mud, and it's like, oh, okay, there's gonna be mud in
Hmm.
there. It's going to get uncomfortable when you lean into that stuff. But when you start to develop that awareness, and so I'll have athletes, write it down in their training log, write it down in a private log so your coach doesn't see it, whatever, so you're seeing it. And so we're talking about it, what did you notice? What were your thoughts, feelings, sensations in that situation? And then we start developing that awareness, and then it starts, okay. Then we're able to start catching it in the middle of it. That's my thought. I
I
call it
love
a
that.
choice point. I love that choice point.
I
Yeah,
love
I'll
that.
ride
Yeah.
with that. Yeah.
Hmm. Love it. Nebula zone, choice point. The most
I like
important,
the
what I'm
nebula. I'm
hearing.
going to use the nebulous zone because
Well,
I think
because I
that'll
just imagine myself
resonate.
kind of like in a
Yeah.
fog. But what I love
Yeah.
about that space, whether it's choice point or nebula zone, is what you're saying is that in the space, like when they're with you, Neil, or when they're with me, or when we're all in community with each other, we are, as you are, this is like your wheelhouse too, is like you're talking about self compassion, but also like compassion from
Totally.
community, like being given the space to talk
Yeah.
about it, to think about it, reflect about it. Um, putting it in a space that like maybe the coaches don't see, make you do it even just for yourself. And then we're doing
Yeah.
self-compassion,
Yeah.
to be able to name it, own it, and sit with it and know
Yeah.
that like from that, like as the lotus growing out of the mud, we are creating these new memories of what
Yeah.
it means to be accepting of ourselves, accepting of
Mhm.
each other. I really
Yeah.
love what you're saying about the choice point and being able to,
Yeah.
the power of pause.
The power of pause. Power of
Hmm.
pause. And I think, if I was, talking to coaches, and I talk to coaches all the time because that's another hat I wear, and I'm also I coach ultra runners, and I'm this therapist, and I wear this mental performance coach. I wear, all these hats inform each other. I can't wear them all at the same time, but they help inform each other. And if I'm working with coaches, it's helping athletes, recognize when they're in that shame space, that self-worth is getting pushed around, and that they are, they're not holding themselves kindly after a race or during, some sort of event. How can you model it, just like we talked about earlier? Is like, what can you model, of self-care, and what can you do to help them kind of reframe that and go into this space of self-compassion and acceptance, and looking around, the common humanity, and this idea of being present and mindful, and bringing that self-kindness to you,
I
and,
love
and the
it.
coaches have got to go there and start
Yeah.
modeling that stuff. And
Yeah.
a lot don't, but I think there's more and more. I know there's more and more picking up on that and going, hey,
Yeah.
this is, if we
So
do this, then our athletes are going to shine even more. So
absolutely. And in it, giving themselves space for and permission to do it, not only for themselves, but perhaps like a healing journey that has to take place for them to be able to access that
totally,
and give themselves permission to be able to do that too.
totally,
So
totally.
fantastic.
Yeah, that's a
Mhm.
hard space to get to,
It's
and
heart space.
like I tell people, there's like a lot of people come to me for mental performance, and really we should be, we need to be go over here and doing therapy, you
Yeah.
know,
Yep.
you know,
All the
and
time.
that's all the
Absolutely.
time, all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So
And not for nothing, but I still believe that mental performance is just like it's like a little branch of mental health. It is something that if you just
totally,
perch on, if you walk down into the tree, you will find yourself in the
I love
world
that.
of and
I love
mental
that
and emotional
metaphor.
health. Yeah,
Exactly,
it's like a
exactly,
nest. The end, little what's it
exactly.
called? Uh, Leaflets at the end of a
Leaflets.
branch. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
Anyway, can you believe it, Neil? We're almost done. Isn't it
Oh
wild?
wow. Oh
Isn't
yeah.
that
So
wild? It goes by so quickly.
I could chat. I could chat for hours.
Well, come back. Let's keep talking.
Absolutely.
Um, but
Absolutely.
I do before we wrap up, everybody, you have to work with Neil. I hope you do. Neil, tell us about mental skills for ultra runners, endurance, and mountain sports athletes.
So I do have a program that's probably going to be starting in September. I've got to get my social media and advertisement up for that again. But I run a program called Mental Skills for Ultra Runners, and it's usually 6 sessions. But I'll make it 4 sessions this time. Go a little bit faster, with a lot of tools for people who are in the ultra running space, or mountain athletes, or endurance athletes. I've just had a group of triathletes actually in this group, and it really is designed to help you develop the skills to be able to get to the other side, get to the finish line in that compassionate way, just like we're talking about, and be able to open up to some of this discomfort. And I also have, my private practice, therapy practice that I work with here, people in Colorado. And then my mental performance practice, which, I work with here in Colorado, but I also work with other athletes across the country, for just seeking
Beautiful.
mental performance. But yeah, take a look. You could find me on LinkedIn or on social media, at, those two places. I'm trying to get more content out there, but um, hopefully I'll have some information on mental skills for ultra running here in the next week or so. So cool.
Mm, yeah. So everybody, again, I'm just going to put these up one more time at Neo Palace and at the Trail Mindset. Don't forget to follow. And you can, again, like he said, you can find him on LinkedIn. Neil, thank you so much. Carry us
Thank you.
out. One little pop of wisdom that after all this we're talking about why are we being so hard on ourselves? We're talking about self-compassion, acceptance. What's a little nugget that someone can walk away with today that you'd want people to know?
Mm. I just actually posted this on social media, and I'm going to be posting it again as a reel. Is you you can carry the fear with you. The fear does not have to push you around. The way I describe it is, it could get on the bus with you. You're the bus driver. It doesn't have to push you around. The fear is going to be there. Just let it ride on the bus, and keep driving. You know,
Mm,
it has its job. Let it do its job. Recognize it, normalize it, name it, and go drive the bus.
mhm. Right,
Go get.
right,
So there you go.
right. Oh, I love it. Thank you so much. How wise.
You're
And then
welcome.
also then I also had a reaction which was like, and then get the F out.
Get the
You
get
can
out.
get the F out. You can get off at the next stop, please. That's your stop.
Yeah,
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
But thank you so much, Neil. Awesome, wonderful. Everyone, thank you so much for spending your lunch with us today.
Yeah.
In 2 weeks, my guest is going to be Pooja Kothari, my wonderful, incredible advocate and a very gifted, um, oh my gosh, attorney. Oh my gosh, attorney who's
Oh,
become
wow.
a great advocate for DEI in this world. I'm so excited for you to meet
Oh,
her
cool.
in 2 weeks. Neil, thank you again. Everyone, thank you
Thank
all.
you.
Have a great, great week. Bye.
Bye.